Lena and I welcome you back for our Passport to Lent week 5 for our preschool. I'm so excited to see you guys. This week is going to be one where we talk about Jesus loved and healed many. We're going to start first by talking about Jesus loving children. Do you know back when Jesus was alive, children were not that important.
Really?
Yeah, they were important in that they had to do things, but if children wanted to talk, they'd have to kind of ask permission. And when Jesus was having thousands of people who were coming up and they wanted to hear everything that Jesus had to say, his disciples said to the people who wanted to bring their children, nope, children, no children allowed, no children allowed. Have you ever, has that ever happened to you? Has there ever been some place where you weren't allowed because you were a child?
Probably, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, sometimes they do that because it's safer, or it's just not a good place for children. But with Jesus, he wanted to make sure that they knew that he loved them, and he invited them to come and be with him and to listen to him. So here's a picture of Jesus with children all around him. Back in the day, they had toys just like you have toys. What was your favorite toy when you were little, Lena?
Well, I had this stuffed animal that I named Gargar, and he was a zebra. He was definitely my favorite.
Your favorite is a zebra. Well, it's interesting. They played with wooden horses. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And what does that wooden horse have on it?
It looks like it has a base on the side of it.
Yeah, it does. It looks like it's holding something. Yeah. What about for feet?
It has wheels.
Exactly. It has wheels. So they could attach a rope and wheel it around with them. I think I had a few toys like that. I know I had a puppy dog that was on a string that had wheels for feet, and I would wheel him all around after me. Did you have any toys like that?
I probably do.
Do you have any toys like that at home? Well, if you do, you can think, wow, I play with a toy that's something that Jesus might have played with. Another game that children used to play back then that you can do at home is they used to go and gather stones. Now, I just have some glass pieces here, but they would gather stones and they would dig a hole. Since we can't dig into the floor, Lena and I are going to have a competition to see how many stones we can get into the hole, just like they did in Jesus's times. So I'll give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just like the kids in Jesus's time, we're going to take turns to see who can get it into the hole the most times. Go ahead, Lena. Ooh, very good. So mine actually made it into the hole but bounced out. And I bet that happened sometimes when Jesus was a little kid too. And all the children around him played games like that. And then the bottom here, the children had these metal toys. See that?
Yeah.
So that's like a miniature cart that they would use. So it was pretty cool. They had some really cool toys. No electronic toys, but they made do. The next thing we're going to talk about is how Jesus healed many people. Now, when you get a boo-boo at home, who helps you to feel better? Is it your mom or your dad or your grandmother? Or maybe a stepmom, or maybe a brother and sister? Do they help you feel better? Lena, what happens when you get hurt or if you are sick?
Well, sometimes I'll hug my dog, she will make me feel better, or I'll just go to my parents.
That is so great. Yeah, and when we get sick here at this time, we make sure we take care of people who are sick. We've got hospitals and we've got emergency vehicles that can come and help us. We've got places to stay in our own homes, and we've got Band-Aids and all sorts of things to help us feel better. But back then, sometimes you couldn't stay at home. So sometimes you had to leave your house because you were sick, and because people didn't want to catch it.
Oh.
Where would you go, Lena, if you were sick and they said, nope, you can't stay here anymore?
Maybe I'd stay in my shed in the backyard.
Oh, there you go. And these people, some of them lived on the outside of town. Some of them lived on the inside of town. And they slept under places like bridges and things like that. And it was just because they were sick and people were very afraid of them. And you weren't even supposed to touch them. If you touched someone who was really sick, you had to take a special bath. You remember the baths that we talked about last week? There were the mikvahs with the special baths. Yeah, so... but Jesus went all over here. He went in Galilee and he went across the sea to Gadara and down through Samaria and Jericho and Bethany. All of these places he went. He not only healed people by saying special words, but he actually touched them.
Wow.
And he didn't get sick. So some of the people that he touched were some blind people and a person with leprosy. And with leprosy, people get infections in their skin and then it starts to peel off and not look really good. People were really afraid of them and wouldn't come near them. And Jesus touched them. And then there was a man who was laying by a pool, and he was hoping to be able to get into the pool and healed by that water. And Jesus healed him without him having to go in the water.
Wow.
And Jesus healed children too. Jesus was sure a wonderful guy. And we are so thankful for him. And not only did Jesus touch people, but also Jesus talked to everyone. Are there people that you sometimes don't like to talk to?
Sometimes whenever I get in an argument or I'm not very happy with them, I will.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes I know that I have gotten scared because someone looked different than me. And I didn't want to make them upset by looking at them in a weird way or acting differently than I should act with a person who's very different than me. Well, Jesus didn't care about any of that. And in Jesus's time, they would say, you can't talk to that person or that person or that person because they don't believe the same way that we believe. And you can't talk to that person or that person or that person because they eat things that we think you shouldn't eat. So there were a lot of people that you couldn't talk to. So what do you think about this guy up here?
Well, it looks like he may need some clothes or maybe even a haircut.
I think you're right on both cases. So Jesus went across the Galilean Sea. He went across there and met a person, and this was in enemy territory. Jesus shouldn't have been talking to this guy at all. But this guy was really sick and he needed help. And so he didn't have any clothes on. He would scream and yell. And Jesus made the bad things that were going on inside him leave. And when everyone came to see this Jesus and this man from Gerasene, he was dressed and his hair was put back nice because Jesus loved him and wanted to talk to him. Are you allowed to talk to boys in your classroom?
Yes, I am.
Yeah? Is there any problem in talking to a boy?
No.
No. Back in Jesus' time, if you were outside your house, you didn't really talk to boys if you were a girl, and you didn't talk to girls or if you were a boy. Jesus went all the way to Samaria. And again, there were people that they didn't like in Samaria, the people that Jesus grew up with. And there, at a big well, was a woman. And Jesus sat and talked with her and told her about how she could be saved through believing in him. And she was amazed because no one else was talking to her. Because you know how sometimes in your class, not everybody likes someone and they get lonely? Well, that's happened in her village. But Jesus loved and talked to everyone, including this Samaritan woman. And then also another woman, she was sick. And again, she couldn't be with her family or anything. So she walked behind Jesus. She kind of snuck. I wonder if we can pretend to sneak at home. If you're going to sneak, Lena, can you pretend to like sneak? She saw Jesus in the crowd. And so she snuck up behind him and grabbed his robe. And she was healed. Immediately, she was healed. And Jesus could have just walked on, but Jesus didn't. Jesus stopped and said, "Who touched me?" And the woman said, it was me, please don't be mad. And Jesus wanted everyone to know she's okay and she's good to go, so you guys need to be nice to her. So Jesus was wonderful, and we know that he was wonderful because he loved children and he healed people. And he was a friend to everyone, no matter what. So hopefully that we can be friends like Jesus and love people like Jesus did. Bye, everybody.
Bye.